right. All right, let's get started. Let's get started with today. What's going on? Right. Whoa. Stop this. Okay. Just gonna deal with this one today. How's everybody doing today? How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? I was getting a little bit too much feedback, so not going to be doing the code draw with my other channel because I don't have my headphones turned off. Well, look, today we are going to be doing something pretty cool. I think it's cool. So I'm working on, this is origami paper. This is straight up origami paper. That's it. That's all. Right? You can find this at any hobby store. I got this from Michael's. You get a really big pack for like 500 sheets of multicolors. And so this was kind of like a weird little attempt of mine to try to, you know, up the ante of some other incredible artists that I saw that like drawing on Post-it notes. And you know, Post-it notes is kind of thick, it's got that waxiness to it. And so I said, you know what, let's try something uber delicate. So I said, let's try origami paper. And so yeah, doing an origami sketch. I haven't done one in quite some time. If you check in my stream, you might see a few. How's everybody doing today? All right. When you guys are cool and safe and all that good stuff. And so I'm kind of staying in the vein of what I shared yesterday in my timeline. If you're following me on YouTube or Facebook at Ka-Pow School, I am kind of staying in the vein of, you know, Carnage, because my grandson is on this Carnage and Venom kick. And I started actually, man, that'll make a really good print. So I'm actually going to be working on my print later, which is going to be a double-sided print that, a double spread print. And see, this is why origami is a challenge, because the paper is very thin. But anyway, like I was saying, I'm working digitally on a print of Venom versus Carnage, and I kind of like to keep my brain engaged between projects, and so it's not uncommon for me to go ahead and work on a digital project while doing some side traditional sketching. I kind of like to vacillate, you know, bounce back and forth. You see, I just rolled this out. This is just kneading eraser, right? Because this paper is so incredibly delicate, you don't want to go back and forth, right? And you also have to draw with a very soft hand because it's nothing to tear through it. And coloring with markers, that's a whole different endeavor. So see, I have the erase right there, and I'm using this light orange mechanical pencil to kind of lay it out. I don't know how it's picking up on the stream. But here, if you can see it, it gives me a little bit of contrast before I go in here with my hard pencils. I want him to kind of, I'm gonna make him kind of thin and wiry. So I'm just blocking in the shapes, and I'm kind of hunched over. Probably should have pushed his body over a little bit more. So I want this arm here, the blades, his claws, like this, and this one kind of semi-tucked back. Really aggressive stance. I want to give him just enough clearance up top so that I can have his little tendrils, right, and his little serpentine things kind of coming in, you know, so he's kind of engulfed in, I'm sure they're going to do a really cool job with it on the movie. Curious to see. I didn't care much for the Venom movie. I don't know about you guys. Did not care much for the Venom movie, if I'm being completely honest. Was not one of my favorites. I just think that you really can't fully appreciate Venom without Peter Parker, right? Without Spider-Man. And to create a movie, because you're sitting on the license of, but you're also sitting on the license of Spider-Man, but you're into this weird agreement with Marvel. Here's the funny thing: you can do, at the higher levels, I've noticed that the laws and the legalese, it's convenient. It's all based on convenience, in my opinion. And so, for some reason, they just can't seem to, get their stuff together and give us complete thoughts. Even though, we know that Marvel sold, a lot of its library away during its hardship years, right? When the industry was a bust and Marvel filed bankruptcy and they, split off their properties in Sony and Fox and, and what have you. They didn't have the foresight or a crystal ball at the very least to kind of, predict, no one could, that the superhero genre would take off. Hey, I don't know what happened. I think what happened was, I think you're referring to my audio and stuff. I don't have my little hacking device, which is my headphones, to divert the sound from my other phone that I use as a secondary camera. So we got a lot of reverb. If that's what you mean, what happened. So, if that's what you're talking about. See here, I'm just kind of really blocking it in. Hopefully you guys can see that on Facebook and on YouTube. And this is just my daily warm-up. I think I want a little bit more tilt to this thing. I want a little bit more tilt, like going that way. Yeah, a little bit more tilt. It's amazing what you can do when you just change things just a little bit. This is messy. It's messier than I normally sketch. So yeah, sitting here sketching on origami paper, colored origami paper. And if you try this out, check out Michael's. This is where I got this from. It comes in sizes, I think 3x3 and 8x8. This is an 8x8 piece of origami paper. I just wanted to kind of just dive in here and start my drawing day. Like I said, bear with me. I'm still getting into the habit of streaming on a regular basis. You know what? That's too big. You guys are watching this live, so yeah. In the edited video, I shall bypass the errors, but that's kind of the point of drawing live, right? So that you guys kind of see the process. Like, I don't like the fact that I'm not getting enough of his body in there, right? And this is not meant to be a, what I can call a thorough piece of art. See, I'm just kind of rolling back and forth here. And even then, I gotta kind of put some tension. I'm using my hand to put tension on the paper so that it doesn't crinkle. That happened with a Black Bolt piece that I did a while ago. And this stuff will tear on you like nobody's business. It really will. So I actually started doing origami paper, like I said, because I wanted to challenge myself as well as give myself a gimmick. I've seen some other artists, do a lot of sticky notes. Like one of my favorite artists, favorite people, Todd Knock, whose channels are just amazing. He's kind of like my pseudo sensei on how to really stream and, as an artist and really engage your audience in a real way. And if you've never met him, now that cons are opening back up, I can't wait to see him personally. Really good guy. His lovely wife Dawn. We've become acquaintances. There we go. I got more of his body in there. There we go. I got more of his body. That's what I wanted. More of his body so we can add a little bit more dynamics to this. There we go. And looking really wiry, yet deadly. And then I'm going to probably just go ahead and pencil this today. And then I'm going to, I remember the abs and stuff, that's like an accordion. Whenever somebody's hunched over like that, it's like this accordion effect. I'm going to actually have like some pelvic stuff coming out from Carnage and a little bit of thigh right here, right, to kind of add energy to the pose. Almost like his pelvic bones kind of seeping through the symbiote. Hopefully you guys are picking this up. Like I said, I'm using this is like an orange colored mechanical pencil. And the lids you can buy, this is a 2mm. You can buy these on Amazon. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some claw stuff going on here. Razor claws. Now remember, even though this is an exaggerated character, everything is based on very, very traditional anatomy. So this is a Ka-Pow stream, not an Honor Studio stream, so I'm kind of in teaching mode. Because that's the whole purpose of my Ka-Pow. That's the whole purpose of my Ka-Pow, is teaching. There you go. So I got a nice body kind of sketched in here. Go ahead and add the claws, the palm of the hand, and these things kind of curl over like this. And be sure to, if you're ever going to do this, make sure you hold on to these edges because this paper will buckle on you. And even though it seems like I'm going through this kind of fast, I'm actually being very light with my hand. We're talking a real light hand feel here. Collarbone there. Wispy and muscular, but not too much. I want this hand kind of coming. Yeah, right now I'm just really kind of just guesstimating where the fingers will be, because that's the beauty about an exaggerated character like this, is that you can cheat. Hope you guys can hear that buzzing. That's my I'm washing clothes at the same time. Are you guys excited that we're coming out of the COVID? Things are starting to open up. I know a lot of people are really excited. I'm excited, just to get back to some sense of normalcy, like the majority of us. And see, now when I'm drawing through. Okay, so now we have the makings here. I'm going to drop his eyes in. I'll put his eyes up here. top third of his head, because one thing about Carnage that is very endearing is that large carnivorous razor taloned tooth mouth of his. Now I was playing with some ideas. I might go ahead and try one on the sketch, where I kind of take it a little bit further. One of the things I like to do, like I said, I like to take characters that already exist and have a little bit of ownership in the visuals, And so when I think Carnage, I think death, right? Because he's crazy, he's insane, he's a mental patient, a serial killer, I believe, right? He's a serial killer, and so he gets a hold of a symbiote, and so I want to, since I'm thinking death, I'm thinking death's head motif, and now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start lightly coming in here with my pencils. Start blocking stuff in. So I'm going to make its head a little bit more skeletal in appearance. So he's got these really elevated cheekbones. I want to make it more like bony protrusions, kind of consistent with what I'm doing with the hips. It's funny, when the whole symbiote thing happened, I really wasn't a huge fan. I'm going to make this rib cage a little bit more gaunt, only because I think they have made a lot of missteps with the Spider-Man property. Just really, bastardizing it and just really cannibalizing it and doing a little overkill. Venom was cool. He kind of took off on his own. Carnage, people kind of liked the idea. Would kind of force Venom into a more of an anti-hero persona. So yeah, I was always on the fence with the whole thing, and so I was never like completely sold on it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a message or a comment and let me know what you think. Where do you, even if it's just a movie, if you're not so much into the comic stuff like I am, just like with the Venom movie, I felt that it was like I gave it a C plus. I gave it a C plus because, like I said, if me being a comic book guy, you can't really have the Venom without Peter Parker. So excuse me if I'm raining on somebody, but listen, I don't trip on the disagreement. If you guys don't agree, I'd love to hear what you have to say. But it's just my opinion. How do you have Venom? One of the biggest things about Venom is that huge white spider on his chest. That's part of his mystique, part of his character, right? And then when you took that out, you just had this big black slimy thing in the movie theater, and even the name Venom, Spider Venom, that's where it came from. It wasn't just like a arbitrary name because they thought it sounded cool. It was he was going to be the Venom to Spider-Man, right? Because of his rejection. See that right there? That was almost a buckle. I'm going to go and make these really, really razor. So yeah, this is me just kind of getting loose for the day before a day of digital painting. But like all things that I start on, it usually takes on a life of its own, despite my minimalist intentions. And see, I'm not too much worried about the wisps and stuff that yet, so I'm really focusing on the body, because at this stage I want to make sure that the anatomy works, and all the extra stuff I'll go ahead and add that a little later. You know, because it's mostly going to be black, and especially against this red, there's not a whole lot I can do. I'm going to add some values and some highlights to kind of get a little color, a little sense of range. See, now I'm just kind of adding the details. Mouth full of teeth. Can you imagine running into something that looked like this guy in the street? I'd be like, just kill me. Just kill me, I'm done. This would be terrifying. At least like Venom, his I guess one of his biggest motivations is his hunger. You know, I think Carnage is, you know, because of, you know, Cletus Cassidy, the host. It's just the love of killing. It's just that simple. They don't overcomplicate it. Go ahead and add this pelvic bone here in the background. Now I'm just kind of loosely putting in these fingers, these finger blades. I might go ahead and fancy those up a little bit more later. I know most people don't like this stage because it seems a little all over the place. But trust me, by the time you're done, you can't have a piece of beauty without the going through the ugly phase. That's everything. As an art, so goes life. Right? Ooh, I forgot. Gotta have the thumb. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I'm going to have the thumb kind of like that coming in. So it's kind of alluding that the thumb is somewhere off the page. Coming in. And then I'll erase all those tangents later. So yeah, I got more of his body in there. See, I'm not trying to really muddy it up with a whole lot of, I'm just really focusing on the shapes at this point, you know, and making them look very aggressive and jagged. We have this finger coming out here, and then there's this palm, right? So this finger's gonna come off the page like that. This is gonna go into the palm. The other one is going to come like this and go off the page. And come back in. Remember, it's based on very human anatomy, so he has 5 fingers. So even if you have to do like me and you got to count, go ahead and count. I've actually seen people, they get so caught up in the aesthetics of the blades and the wickedness and the aggressiveness of it that they forget to put in, you know, the right amount of appendages. There you go. It's kind of got this kind of liquidy, you know. There we go. Hope you guys are picking this up all right. I'm so new to the streaming stuff. It's funny. The last couple of ones that I've done, did not quite turn out as expected, my streams. So, cheers to try again, right? I'm going to put it on here to make it kind of organic here, almost like the eyes kind of have a liquid element to it like the rest of his body. I think we're good there. I think we are good there. Go ahead and start adding some tendrils coming off his body. I want to have, like I'm going to do with the print that I'm working on, I'm going to have these little mini Carnage. These little creatures with teeth that, you know, almost like serpentine type things come off of him. So yeah. And Carnage literally is like all over the place. Head, almost like a little alien, a little internal mouth in the movie Alien. One of my students suggested something that I'm actually going to try on the print since I'm painting it digitally, where this is, you know, just a sketch process. It's great when you can have certain things be referenced in like nature or reality, and so he gave me a great suggestion about a frog that I was totally unaware of called the glass frog, where you can it's a transparent frog where you can actually see kind of see through it, you know, because I told him I was looking for something, you know, a little different take on the character, and he suggested that. I'm like, that is brilliant. How I'm going to do it, I do not know. I do not quite know. But we will figure it out. I will figure it out. I was like, that's a great idea. And I Googled that glass frog. I'm like, that would be so cool. So he has this kind of this transparent element to him. You know, maybe where you see the skeleton, you know, of the host. See, I just thought it was a good idea. Okay. We're going to start. Do I have enough? Do I have enough information? Let's make sure I have enough information here. Always make sure you have enough information before you start going in with your permanent media. At least I'm a fan of that. You know, because we kind of build around our permanent media. I'll put his hand there and have that one coming like that. And that one coming like that. So yeah, there's a little bit of a tangent there that goes into his body. Okay. Alright. I think I'm ready to start inking some of this now. Because he's like red and black, I don't have, that's the beautiful thing, I can do all the other details in black and have his eyes pop either white or yellow. And you have all of these squigglies everywhere. Right, and some coming off the, you know, his body's like these things become all alive. You know, and constantly moving. It's kind of gross when you think about it. That's the thing kind of wrapping around him. his legs. Having just like these little bitey things. Like in the comics, it's always blades. I like the idea of these little heads coming off of him. Even though blades are his main, you know, the symbiote blades are his main weapon. We gonna do what we want to do, because that's why it's called art. That's why it's called art. There we go. Make sure you guys are getting a good look. So yeah, I think I'm ready to go in here and start with some ink. So always keep a spare piece of paper to test your media. These are some little, this is the 3x3 origami that I was just doing some roughs on. And so I'm going to start with my chosen media, which is Pigma Microns. All right, and this is a 0.005. And there's some bleed here, right? So you're going to get a little wider line than you may actually want. This is 0.8. I might use that for the outline. I think I'm going to go away using that for the outline. Yeah. On the thicker outline here. I might leave a few gaps here and there, even on his on the skull. I want some things coming off his head. And I'm not even really worried about symmetry that much, because I want it to feel very organic. Because his body's like always shifting. It's almost like he's like a symbiotic version of all. You know, when I think of Carnage, a lot of times I think of Joker, right? Because he's, you know, he's always cackling and laughing, and, you know, sadistic. Having a little bit of serration there. See what I'm working on. Let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. I think this is a perfect little warm-up to what I'm going to be working on today. Getting everything ready for my foray back into the con scene after a almost 20 year hiatus. You know, so my little carrot that I'm chasing. Just want to be prepared, just so when I come back out and I'm with, you know, our people. You know, I consider them our people. But I have some current and some good stuff to show. See, I just kind of deviated so I wouldn't have that tangent there. And these, yeah, these lines I'm going to be erasing some of them. And leaving a couple of gaps here for some more tendrils I have planned. I want everything clogged up with one hard line, because one thing you can't do, you're not using white on this, believe that. You are not using white on this. So you have to kind of go in, because the paper's colored, you got to kind of go in with a pen. Kind of go with a little bit of certainty of what you want, so that when you get into it, you know, just kind of knowing that, you know, it is going to be what it is. And it's great for building your confidence. You know, don't despise it. Don't not do something like this because you're afraid that if you mess up, you have to start over. You got to start over. But it also really makes you make decisions and builds your confidence, because, you know, digitally, that's the biggest problem with digital, is your ability to, it's one of its greatest benefits, is also one of its greatest liabilities as an artist, and that is Control Z, the ability of unlimited do-overs. You know, I remember when I first started, my mentor, you know, we did everything, you know, traditionally. This was pre-digital, the pre-digital age. And even if you messed up, which, you know, they happen. Every artist worth his salt will tell you that screwing up a piece or having uh-ohs are a part of, you know, you kind of sign up for that. And so even with him, he taught me how, you know, how they did it back in the day, how they would just make a blotch or error and just make it work and actually work it into the art. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't know how to work it into the art anymore. It's just, you know, Control Z. And I love Control Z, don't get me wrong, but this is one of the reasons why I go back and forth between traditional and digital, because I know whenever I get the traditional media, it's all about confidence building. And just like everything else in life, right? Whether it's sports, whether, you know, it's your career, everything's a confidence game, man. So you do yourself a disservice by not building the necessary muscles to build the confidence needed to be a success in your undertaking. And don't get me wrong, you're talking about somebody who hates messing up. I hate it. I like throw a tantrum, and I'm hoping I can get through this without throwing a tantrum. So you don't see me act a fool live. There we go. Hope everyone's well. We are doing this Carnage warm-up for the day. On origami paper. This is red origami paper. It's wafer thin. It's almost like drawing on tissue paper, like wrapping paper, you know, when you're giving somebody a present. It's a little bit challenging. But yeah, I saw, like I said, I saw Todd Knock, and I love his Post-it notes. And I'm like, okay, he's doing Post-it notes. I'm not going to do Post-it notes because he's doing Post-it notes. So I got to find something that, but I did like the tonal colors, right, that the papers provide. And so I also have cardstock that I use occasionally. But this is straight origami paper. And so you erase too hard, you're screwed. Use the wrong type of ink, you're screwed, because the bleed factor is real, right? It's highly absorbent. I've tried other markers, and it's like you put one stroke down and then you turn around, and that thing is magnified like 3 or 4 times it's the stroke width. Microns work well. primarily because you have all the different sizes of tips. And all this stuff ain't probably just not going to be here because he's red and black, and so like all this in his mouth right here, this is black. I'm going to go ahead and use my 0.005 micron on this one. This is a finer detail. And I want some more control. And I'll be posting this next to my grandson's Carnage he drew this past weekend. I didn't have time to do mine. I went straight into a Carnage Venom full piece that I'm working on. I'm like, that's part of the reason I'm doing this. I'm like, oh, I didn't do my Carnage. I promised me that I would. Let me tell you something. If you got kids, right? In my case, grandkids now. My 4 children are all adults. If you got grandkids, just like my wife and I did with our kids, keep your word, right? When you tell me you're gonna do something, you do it. You know, we all gonna grow up with scars and stuff anyway. But at least be a trustworthy source for them. You know, be the one that they know they can count on. You know, and your children are gonna lie to you. Don't get me wrong; they're gonna lie to you. My children have all, you know, we lie to those we care most about. We lie to those who at least you should never lie, but if you lie to somebody, make sure it's somebody whose opinion really matters in your life. Don't waste a lie. Don't waste going to hell over a lie that doesn't matter to somebody you could care less really what they think about you. You know, ideally don't lie at all, right? Be that person. But I get it, you know, we're human. But as a born-again Christian, I have to be honest. If I'm going to risk going to hell, you know, it's going to be someone who I really care what they think. And I'm probably not going to risk it even for them, not at this stage of life. I'm being completely honest, you know. But when you make a promise to young people, keep it. If you say you're going to be there when you say you're going to be there. If you're going to do something, do it when you say you're going to do it. Okay? I want my grandchildren, just like our children, we're very close to our children, even, you know, though they're all out of the house. But we're a source of reliability for them, right? And being reliable matters, especially in today's world. Being reliable matters on so many levels. And so this is me keeping my word to my grandson, this particular Carnage piece. Like, why is he doing Carnage twice? One's going to be a print for sale. This might even be for sale if it turns out cool enough. It's all for sale. It's all for sale. Let my wife tell it. It's all for sale. Sure. She's going to be at me at the cons, helping me manage things while I, you know, do what artists in Artist Alley do, which is draw and be an artist, and hobnob and network a little bit. And see, I'm adding a heavier line weight here. This right here pushes this hand into the forefront of the image. Right? So I want this line weight outside here to be a lot thicker. And one of the things we always have to be cognizant of as two-dimensional artists is that because we're not operating with in 3D, we have to make sure that we can still illustrate things on a planar level, foreground, middle ground, background, you know, foreshortening, line weight, the whole 9 yards. So yeah. I'm going to have to jump off here in a second, but I'll come back with this one. I won't. I'll pick this up where I left off. I can leave this here and be cool with it, and just pick this up on the next daily warm up. Because my wife's about to head to a funeral. A close friend of hers, a co-worker. An amazing young man. He died tragically on Mother's Day. And I'm not really one for funerals. I don't think anybody is. But if I must say, like I told my wife, you know, it was her co-worker. I typically try not to go to funerals unless I know my presence is expected and would be missed. But it being her co-worker, even though I knew who he was, I don't think we agreed that my presence would not be essential. So I took a soft pass. But I got to go see her off and make sure she doesn't need anything from me before she heads on out. And see, with this, I'm just really trying to control that bleed. So once again, you don't want to oversaturate this paper with too many strokes because your lines will blow out of proportion. They will completely and utterly blow out. So yeah, we'll go ahead and name this part 1 of Carnage origami. And just so you know, I'm planning on doing a Venom origami. And it's going to be in blue. Right? And these are on 8x8 and they will be for sale, possibly, if they look decent enough for commerce. I never know. I'll be honest with you. I just never really know. I'm sorry if you've commented and I have not replied, but I'm a solo show and I try to catch responses as I can. As responses as I can. My goal is to eventually have either an assistant here in my studio with me. I do have my own production studio, or my lovely wife, like the incredible Dave Finch does with his wife Meredith. That's just an amazing. I love his streams. If you haven't checked out David Finch, one of the great gentlemen of this industry. And I can say that, and I don't know him from a can of paint, but who he is resonates with all his streams. He draws live every Monday night on YouTube. So check out David Finch, Monday Night Draw, and you won't be disappointed. And his wife kind of helps him manage the stream. And quite honestly, my audience isn't that big yet, so I don't even know if anybody's in here. We just keep it 100, so I'm not going to be pretentious. But as I endeavor to grow this platform and start offering my classes, and if you like, you can download my app now. I'm on the App Store with the Ka-Pow Power Prompt. If you're an artist or a writer looking for creative prompts and combinations of prompts to trigger your creative, jumpstart your creative flow, check out my app. I created it in my response to a bunch of prompt months that I can never seem to keep up with. And it currently has 5 stars, so please leave a review if you like it. If you don't like it, leave an honest review. I have a whole page dedicated to it, a whole website, powerpromptapp.com. And I welcome feedback. I don't shirk from it. You know, I'm a retired cop. I'm used to, you know, the ugly stuff. I pray that you won't be ugly with it, but I hope that you like it. But if not, I appreciate honesty overall. I like making things better. If you go to powerpromptapp.com, there are links to the Google Play and the Apple Store. You can download it, as well as, leave a review. And you can also check out my roadmap. I do have a roadmap. I have plans for this app. I I want to do some things. I want to grow it. This is my first version of it, and as it grows, as the audience of it grows, hopefully artists will embrace it as a useful tool. I plan on adding some cool things to it. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and log off here and see my white hawk, and I'll pick this back up later. Talk to you guys later. God bless.